Have you ever wondered why, in the profound silence of the night, when the world slows down and the stars emerge from the darkening sky, we feel an inexplicable connection to the vastness above? It is a quiet moment, a gentle pause in the relentless march of time, where the mind is free to wander into the deepest corners of existence. You look up at the distant glimmers of ancient light, some of which left their host stars millions of years before humanity even took its first breath, and you cannot help but feel a sense of profound mystery. We are conscious beings, capable of measuring the cosmos, of counting the galaxies, of understanding the invisible forces that shape reality. Yet, despite all our knowledge, we are inevitably confronted with the most universal, the most intimate, and the most daunting question of all. What happens when the biological machine finally comes to a halt? What occurs when the electrical impulses in our brains quiet down, when our breath becomes still, and when we close our eyes for the ultimate time? For centuries, this question was left to the realms of philosophy, poetry, and ancient mythologies. We created stories to comfort ourselves, to make sense of the impenetrable darkness that seems to await us. But what if the answer, or at least a glimpse of the truth, lies not in ancient folklore, but in the rigorous, mind-bending framework of modern science? What if the universe, in all its infinite complexity, has already written the rules for our continuation, encoded in the very fabric of reality? Tonight, we will embark on a quiet journey into the microscopic and the cosmic, exploring what happens after death not through belief, but through the fascinating lens of quantum physics. Before we dive deeper into this vast cosmic ocean, I want to gently introduce myself. I am Theodore, the researcher, your companion and guide on these contemplative scientific journeys. As we explore these profound mysteries together, I have noticed that roughly 71% of the curious souls who join me here are not yet subscribed to the channel. If you find peace and wonder in these quiet explorations of the universe, please consider subscribing. It is a small gesture that helps immensely, allowing us to continue unraveling the beauty of the cosmos together. Now, let us return to the quiet darkness of space and the microscopic wonders of the quantum realm, leaving behind our everyday worries to embrace the profound scale of reality. To begin to understand what happens when we die from a scientific perspective, we must first change how we view ourselves. You are not merely a collection of flesh, bone, and blood. You are, at your most fundamental level, a localized concentration of energy. Every movement you make, every thought that flickers through your mind, every heartbeat that sustains your rhythm, is a symphony of energy transfer. The scientific community, through decades of rigorous observation and measurement, has established fundamental laws that govern how this energy behaves. The most absolute of these is the first law of thermodynamics. This ancient, unbreakable rule of the cosmos states a profound truth. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one state to another. Think about that for a moment. The energy that animates you right now, the heat radiating from your skin, the electrical charges firing across your synapses, is not entirely your own. It is borrowed. It is the same energy that once fueled the burning cores of ancient stars, the same energy that flowed through primordial oceans, the same energy that has been cascading through the infinite expanse of the universe for almost 14 billion years. When the human body ceases to function, the energy it contains does not simply vanish into nothingness. The universe does not allow for such absolute erasure. Instead, your energy dissipates. Your heat flows into the surrounding air, warming the environment ever so slightly. Your kinetic energy, your chemical potential, it all returns to the vast, endless reservoir of the Earth and the cosmos. As the brilliant astrophysicist Carl Sagan once eloquently reminded us, we are made of star stuff. Our atoms were forged in the spectacular deaths of massive stars. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. When we look up at the night sky, we are not looking at something separate from us. We are looking at our own history, our own origins, and our own ultimate destiny. The calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our cells, were all cooked in the nuclear furnaces of ancient stars. And just as the star's energy is recycled to form new worlds, the energy that makes up your current form will continue its journey, transforming, flowing, and interacting with the universe in a quiet, eternal dance. The biological vessel may perish, but your fundamental essence is immortal by the very laws of physics. But classical thermodynamics only tells a fraction of the story. It explains the physical heat, the chemical breakdown, the macroscopic transfer of energy. To find the true mystery, to approach the elusive concept of consciousness and identity, we must zoom in far beyond the realm of cells and molecules. We must enter the strange, counterintuitive, and beautifully complex world of quantum mechanics. In the quantum realm, the solid reality we experience every day completely dissolves. If you were to look closely at the atoms that make up your hand, you would find that they are almost entirely empty space. The electrons orbiting the nucleus do not move in predictable paths like planets around the sun. Rather, they exist in clouds of probability, flickering in and out of precise locations, defined only by mathematical wave functions. At this incredibly tiny scale, the universe ceases to be a machine of solid parts and becomes a breathtaking tapestry of vibrating fields, energetic fluctuations, and interconnected probabilities. Here, the boundary between what is matter and what is simply energy becomes completely blurred. You are a continuously fluctuating pattern of quantum information, and this brings us to one of the most profound principles in modern physics, the conservation of quantum information. Just as the first law of thermodynamics protects energy, the laws of quantum mechanics protect information. According to the fundamental principles of quantum theory, the information that describes the state of a physical system can never be permanently deleted. This is known as the no-hiding theorem. In the quantum universe, every detail of a particle's existence, its spin, its velocity, its position, its entanglement with other particles, is preserved in the cosmic fabric. Information is the ultimate currency of reality. It is more fundamental than the matter that makes up the stars or the gravity that holds the galaxies together. So, what does this mean for the phenomenon we call death? If every atom in your body, every electron firing in your brain carries specific, indestructible quantum information, then the exact configuration that makes you who you are is a unique pattern woven into the universe. When biological death occurs, the macroscopic structure loses its coherence. The beautiful, highly ordered system that maintained your heartbeat and your breathing falls into entropy. The pattern begins to disperse. But the quantum information, the fundamental data that encoded your experiences, your memories, the exact state of your being, cannot be annihilated. It scatters into the void, entangling with the surrounding environment, radiating outward into the vastness of space. Some physicists have proposed that consciousness might not simply be a byproduct of biological computation, but a fundamental property closely tied to quantum information. If consciousness arises from quantum coherence, the end of the biological brain does not mean the absolute end of the conscious pattern. The information is released, expanding outward, joining the quiet stillness of the universe. Imagine your unique quantum signature returning to the infinite ocean of energy from which it emerged. It is a thought that bridges the cold equations of science and our deepest intuitions. We are not fragile mistakes destined for oblivion. We are enduring expressions of cosmic mathematics. The universe is incredibly vast, filled with billions of galaxies. We often look at this scale and feel vanishingly small. But quantum physics offers a gentle reassurance. You are not separate from this vast cosmos. You are a mathematically protected feature of it. Your existence represents a specific alignment of quantum data that the universe will never forget. As your energy dissipates and your quantum information scatters, you simply rejoin the whole, returning to the primordial silence. It is a peaceful transformation, a return to the stars. The end is not a deletion, but a profound diffusion into the eternal tapestry of the cosmos. Our journey into this mystery is only just beginning, as the quantum universe holds far more secrets waiting to be gently uncovered. In the upcoming chapters of our quiet journey, we will explore the mysterious phenomenon of quantum entanglement, the strange ways that particles communicate across vast distances, and how the fabric of space-time itself might preserve the echoes of our existence long after the physical form has dissolved. We will look at how leading scientific institutions like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency study the faint background radiation of the universe, searching for the ultimate truths of energy and information. But for now, let us rest in the comforting knowledge that nothing is ever truly lost. Have you ever wondered how it is possible to feel a profound connection to someone or something that is separated from you by vast, insurmountable distances? In our everyday experience, space seems like an absolute barrier. If a star is 1,000,000 light years away, it feels entirely disconnected from the gentle quiet of your room. If a loved one is on the other side of the planet, or if they have passed beyond the veil of biological life, the physical space and time between you feel like an unbridgeable void. But the universe, in its infinite wisdom and ancient complexity, operates on rules that completely defy this simple intuition. To truly understand what happens to our fundamental essence after the heart stops beating, we must peer deeper into the microscopic architecture of reality, into a phenomenon so bizarre and beautiful that it troubled even the greatest minds of the 20th century. We must talk about the hidden threads that stitch the cosmos together, a quiet mystery known to physicists as quantum entanglement. As we pause to contemplate these hidden threads of the universe, allow me to warmly welcome you back. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet guide through the vast mysteries of the cosmos. I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful minds who watch these videos are not yet subscribed to our channel. If these gentle scientific explorations bring you a sense of peace and wonder, I invite you to subscribe. It helps our community grow and ensures we can continue this meditative journey together. Now, let us return to the silence of the quantum realm and the invisible bonds that tie us to the stars. When we think about separation, we rely on the classical laws of physics. If you take two stones and place them on opposite sides of the earth, what happens to one stone has absolutely no immediate effect on the other. They are isolated, lonely objects existing independently in the vastness of space. However, when we descend into the subatomic realm, this isolation shatters. In the quantum world, when two particles interact in specific ways, they can become deeply linked. No matter how far apart, They are subsequently pulled. You could leave one particle here on our quiet blue planet and send the other to the absolute edge of the observable universe, billions of light years away. If you were to measure the state of the particle here on Earth, you would instantaneously determine the state of its distant partner. There is no delay. There is no signal traveling through the dark emptiness of space at the speed of light. The connection is immediate, defying the very concepts of space and time. Albert Einstein, one of the most brilliant physicists to have ever lived, famously struggled with this concept. He called it spooky action at a distance, finding it almost impossible to reconcile with his beautiful theory of relativity, which stated that nothing could travel faster than light. Yet, decades of rigorous experiments have proven that entanglement is not just a mathematical curiosity. It is a fundamental reality of nature. It is a quiet, invisible web that connects the seemingly isolated fragments of the cosmos into a unified, breathing whole. What does this profound scientific truth mean for our understanding of life, consciousness, and the ultimate transition we call death? Consider the staggering complexity of your own physical form. You are composed of approximately 7 octillion atoms. That is, a 7 followed by 27 zeros, a number so vast that human imagination struggles to hold it. These atoms are not completely isolated entities. They have interacted with countless other particles throughout the ancient history of the universe. The carbon in your cells, the oxygen rushing through your lungs, the iron carrying life through your veins, have all been intimately interacting, colliding, and entangling since the primordial dawn of time. You are not a solitary object. You are a dense, localized knot of quantum entanglements. When the biological processes cease, when the breath quiets, and the heart finds its final stillness, the physical boundaries that defined your earthly form begin to dissolve. But the quantum connections, those invisible threads of entangled particles, do not simply snap and vanish. The atoms that once made up your eyes, your hands, and your brain will scatter back into the biosphere. They will become the soil, the gentle wind, the quiet roots of towering trees, and eventually, over immense stretches of time, they may be cast back into the deep cosmos. As your physical form disperses, the entangled partners of your subatomic particles remain connected to you across the vast expanse of the universe. In a very real scientific sense, you do not simply disappear into nothingness. You expand. You lose your local coherence, the specific arrangement that made you an individual biological organism, but your fundamental building blocks remain woven into the infinite fabric of reality. Your quantum signature, the intricate web of entangled states that accompanied your life, stretches out, merging with the silent majesty of the cosmos. The brilliant astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson once beautifully articulated that we are biologically connected to every other living thing in the world. We are chemically connected to all molecules on Earth, and we are atomically connected to all atoms in the universe. But when we add the layer of quantum mechanics to this poetic truth, the connection becomes even deeper and more profound. We are quantumly entangled with the very origins of existence. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency have conducted mind-bending experiments demonstrating quantum entanglement over vast distances, even beaming entangled photons from orbiting satellites down to quiet observatories on Earth. These incredible feats of modern science prove that distance is, in many ways, an illusion. The separation we feel between ourselves and the distant stars, or between the living and the departed, might just be a limitation of our macroscopic perception. The universe does not see the empty space between things. It sees the unbroken fields of energy and the persistent correlations of quantum states. When we grieve the loss of a loved one, we are mourning the loss of their localized presence, the specific pattern of atoms that we could touch and hear. But from the perspective of the quantum universe, their fundamental essence has merely been redistributed. They have shifted from a concentrated, fragile state of biological order into a vast, unshakable state of cosmic integration. Their particles are still vibrating, still entangling, still participating in the ancient, infinite dance of the cosmos. They are in the sunlight that warms your face, in the gentle rain that nourishes the earth, and in the starlight that travels for millions of years to reach your watchful eyes. Let us take a moment to breathe in the profound peace that this scientific realization brings. We spend so much of our fleeting lives fearing the end, perceiving death as an absolute erasure, a terrifying plunge into an eternal, cold void. But the cosmos tells a completely different story. The universe is not a graveyard of lost souls and deleted information. It is a boundless ocean of preservation and transformation. The quiet silence of death is not the silence of emptiness, but the deep, meditative stillness of returning to the source. It is the gentle release of a singular identity, back into the collective majesty of all that is, all that was, and all that ever will be. Our fear of death stems from our attachment to the illusion of separation. We believe we are solitary islands of consciousness surrounded by an uncaring universe. Yet, quantum entanglement whispers a comforting truth. There is no true separation. The boundaries of your skin do not mark the end of your connection to reality. You are an intrinsic, inseparable part of the cosmic architecture. Just as a wave is not separate from the ocean, your consciousness, your energy, and your quantum information are not separate from the universe. When the wave crashes upon the shore and recedes, the water is not destroyed. It simply retreats into the vast, deep blue, ready to rise again in a different form. As we continue to explore the mysteries of what lies beyond the biological veil, we realize that science is not stripping away the magic of existence. Rather, it is replacing ancient myths with a reality far more miraculous and beautiful than anything our ancestors could have imagined. In the next phase of our quiet exploration, we will look beyond the particles and the waves. We will question the very stage upon which this universal play unfolds. We will delve into the strange, malleable nature of space-time itself, exploring how the past, the present, and the future might all exist simultaneously in a frozen river of time. But for now, let the comforting reality of your infinite connection to the stars bring peace to your mind. Have you ever sat quietly by a flowing river, watching the water rush past you, and felt the heavy, relentless passage of time slipping through your fingers? We experience our lives as a continuous, unstoppable march forward. We leave the past behind us, locked away in fading memories, and we stumble blindly into an unknown future, holding only onto the fragile, fleeting spark we call the present moment. When we lose someone we love, or when we contemplate our own inevitable end, our greatest sorrow often stems from this perception of time. We believe that when the final grain of sand falls through the hourglass, that person is gone forever, washed away by the cosmic current. We grieve because we feel that the moments we shared have vanished into a void, never to be retrieved. But what if our fundamental understanding of time is nothing more than a stubborn illusion constructed by our biological brains to help us navigate a complex world? What if the universe, in its ultimate breathtaking reality does not experience time as a flowing river at all. To truly grasp what happens to us after the biological machine stops, we must leave behind our earthly intuition and venture into the mind-bending architecture of space-time, a place where physics reveals that the past, the present, and the future might all be existing simultaneously in a silent, frozen, eternal landscape. Before we step out of the flowing river and into the boundless ocean of eternal time, I would like to gently pause and welcome you. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on these deep journeys to the mysteries of the cosmos. As we explore the hidden architecture of reality together, I have noticed that roughly 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch these videos are not yet subscribed to our channel. If you find comfort, wonder, and a sense of profound peace in these meditative scientific explorations, please consider subscribing. It is a small, quiet gesture that helps our community grow, allowing us to continue unraveling the majestic secrets of the universe together. Now, let us return to the mysteries of the cosmic clock, taking a deep breath and letting go of our fear of the ticking seconds. For centuries, humanity viewed time exactly as the brilliant physicist Isaac Newton described it, as an absolute, universal clock ticking away in the background of the cosmos, completely indifferent to the matter and energy moving within it. In this classical view, the present is the only thing that is truly real. The past is dead, and the future is an unwritten ghost. But at the dawn of the 20th century, Albert Einstein completely shattered this intuitive assumption. With his magnificent theory of relativity, he proved that space and time are not separate entities, but are deeply interwoven into a single, flexible fabric called space-time. He revealed that time is entirely relative. The rate at which your clock ticks depends on how fast you are moving through space and how strong the gravitational field is around you. If you were to board a spacecraft and travel near the speed of light, or orbit dangerously close to the event horizon of a supermassive black hole, your experience of time would slow down drastically compared to someone remaining on Earth. When you returned, you would have aged only a few years, while decades or even centuries would have passed for your loved ones back home. Because time flows at different rates for different observers depending on their velocity and gravity, there is no single universal present moment. My experience of right now could be your past or someone else's future, depending entirely on our relative motion in the vastness of the cosmos. This brilliant revelation gave birth to a concept in physics known as the block universe theory. Imagine, if you will, a gigantic four-dimensional block of solid glass. The three dimensions of space, representing length, width, and depth, make up the physical shape of the block, while the fourth dimension, time, stretches across its entire length. In this staggering cosmic model, every single event that has ever happened is happening right now, or will ever happen in the entire 14 billion year history of the universe, already exists perfectly laid out within the block. The explosive dawn of the cosmos is permanently etched at one end of the structure. The formation of the Earth, the exact moment you took your first breath, the quiet instant you are experiencing right now as you listen to these words, and the unimaginably distant fading of the last stars are all permanently embedded in this four-dimensional crystal. Time does not flow. It simply exists. The sensation we have of moving through time, of experiencing life frame by frame like a cinematic movie, is simply a localized trick of human consciousness. Our brains are designed to process reality in a linear sequence, dragging our awareness along a predetermined path through the block. but from the ultimate objective perspective of the universe itself, everything is completely frozen, silent, and beautifully simultaneous. If we apply this rigorous, mathematically supported view of reality to the profound mystery of death, the implications are absolutely deeply beautiful and comforting. When a biological organism reaches the end of its life, it does not disappear from reality. It simply reaches the temporal boundary of its specific existence within the block universe. Think of your life as an intricately woven thread suspended inside that massive crystal of space-time. The thread has a definitive beginning, the moment of your birth, and a definitive end, the moment of your physical passing. But just because the thread does not stretch infinitely through the entire length of the glass block does not mean the thread ceases to exist. Every single second you have lived, every laugh you have shared, every tear you have shed, every act of kindness you have performed, is a permanent, indestructible feature of the space-time continuum. You are a localized, brilliantly complex structure of energy and information that is forever locked into the geometry of the cosmos. When you mourn the loss of someone you love deeply, the pain arises because you can no longer interact with them in the moment that your consciousness is currently occupying. You have moved further along the time axis, and their physical thread has reached its conclusion. But in the grand objective reality of the universe, they are still exactly where they always were. The moments you shared with them are just as real, just as vibrant, and just as physically present in the fabric of space-time as the moment you are living right now. They have not been erased. They are simply located at different coordinates in the four-dimensional architecture of eternity. The brilliant scientist Albert Einstein himself found profound comfort in this physical reality. When his lifelong friend Michel Besso passed away, Einstein wrote a deeply moving letter to his grieving family. He wrote that for those who believe in physics, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Einstein knew, through the rigorous language of mathematics and cosmic observation, that his friend was not truly gone. He was permanently preserved in the block universe, a beautiful and enduring part of the cosmic masterpiece. This perspective completely transforms how we view our fleeting biological existence. We are not temporary visitors in an indifferent universe, destined to be swept away by the cosmic winds of time. We are eternal sculptures carved into the very dimensions of reality. Your life is an event that the universe has hosted, and the universe does not delete its events. But as we plunge even deeper into the mystery, crossing the threshold from the macrocosm of relativity into the microscopic weirdness of quantum mechanics, the nature of time becomes even more elusive. When physicists attempt to merge the massive scale of gravity with the microscopic world of quantum physics, they encounter a profound mathematical puzzle. In equations designed to describe the universe at its most fundamental quantum level, the variable for time completely drops out. It completely vanishes from the mathematics. This has led many brilliant theoretical physicists to propose that time, at the very foundational level of reality, does not actually exist at all. It might simply be an emergent property, a macro-level illusion created by the complex interactions of quantum entanglement, much like how the sensation of temperature emerges from the chaotic motion of millions of microscopic atoms. Even though a single atom itself does not possess a temperature, if time is an illusion born from quantum entanglement, then the boundaries we place on life and death become even more blurred. At the deepest level of reality, the level of the quantum fields that make up your essence, there is no ticking clock. There is no before, and there is no after. There is only an eternal, unchanging state of cosmic potential. When the biological machinery fails and the illusion of flowing time shatters for the individual consciousness, what remains? If time is fundamentally non-existent, then the transition we call death cannot be an end, because an end requires the passage of time to have any meaning. Instead, it might be a profound awakening from the chronological illusion, a return to the timeless, unmanifested quantum state from which all reality springs. When we finally surrender our fear of the ticking clock, we invite a profound sense of tranquility into our daily lives. We begin to understand that we are not racing against an invisible enemy, rushing desperately toward a dark and empty finish line. Instead, we are artists, slowly and deliberately painting our unique stroke onto the infinite canvas of the cosmos. Every act of love, every moment of quiet contemplation, every shared smile, and every silent tear is a brushstroke that will never, ever be erased. The universe, in all its vast, unfathomable complexity, is the ultimate curator of our experiences. It holds our joys and our sorrows with the exact same reverence, preserving them in the sacred geometry of space-time. We can walk through our days with a gentle confidence, knowing that our existence is not a fleeting spark destined for the dark, but a brilliant, permanent star in the constellation of reality. This is the profound gift that modern physics offers us, the realization that science and spirituality are not opposing forces, but two different languages describing the exact same magnificent, immortal truth. So, as you close your eyes and feel the gentle rise and fall of your breath, allow yourself to feel anchored in this eternal present, completely safe within the unbreakable embrace of the universe. As our journey continues, we will journey even further into the weirdness of quantum mechanics, exploring the mind-bending possibility that every choice you make splits the universe, leading us into the infinite, branching paths of the multiverse theory. We will examine what happens to consciousness when it is distributed across countless parallel realities, and how the end of one path might simply be the continuation of an infinite number of others. But for tonight, rest in the quiet, frozen eternity of the block universe, knowing that every beautiful moment you have ever lived is safe, secure, and permanently etched into the magnificent, unyielding glass of space-time. Have you ever stood quietly at a crossroads in your life, perhaps looking down a silent, fog-draped street at midnight, and felt the sudden, dizzying weight of your own choices? Every single day we make countless decisions. We choose to turn left instead of right. We decide to speak or to remain silent. We board a specific train, or we delay our departure by just a single, fleeting second. In our everyday experience, we believe that once a choice is made, the alternative is instantly annihilated, vanishing into a phantom realm of what might have been. We look back with longing, with regret, or with relief, assuming that the path we are walking is the only absolute reality that exists. But what if the universe does not discard your alternative choices? What if, in the deep, ancient architecture of reality, every single possibility is not just an abstract idea, but a physical destination that is actually realized? To understand the ultimate fate of our consciousness, we must travel beyond the illusion of our singular timeline and step into one of the most staggering, beautiful, and mathematically rigorous concepts ever proposed by modern physics. We must immerse ourselves in the mind-expanding mystery of the multiverse, a place where the journey of your life never truly finds a final, absolute end, but instead branches outward into an infinite, breathtaking canopy of endless existence. Before we journey further into this infinite garden of branching realities, I want to gently welcome you back to our shared space of contemplation. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion navigating the deep waters of the cosmos. As we unravel these profound mysteries together, I have noticed that 71% of the beautiful minds who watch our videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If these gentle explorations of the universe bring you a sense of peace, if they quiet your mind and expand your perspective, please consider subscribing. It is a small gesture that helps immensely, allowing our community to grow so we can continue this meditative journey into the unknown together. Now, let us return to the quiet silence of the quantum realm and the infinite versions of you that might be walking through the cosmos. To comprehend the true scale of the multiverse, we have to look closely at how the smallest building blocks of reality behave. In the early decades of the 20th century, physicists discovered something that completely shattered our classical understanding of the world. They found that subatomic particles, like the electrons orbiting the nuclei of your atoms or the photons of ancient light traveling from distant stars, do not exist in a single, definite state until they are observed or measured. Instead, they exist in a ghostly state of quantum superposition. This means that a particle can spin clockwise and counterclockwise simultaneously, or it can exist in multiple locations at the exact same moment. It exists as a wave of pure probability, a mathematical cloud of endless potential. When a scientist sets up a detector and measures the particle, this beautiful cloud of probability seems to suddenly collapse into a single, definite reality. For a long time, the scientific community accepted this interpretation, believing that the act of observation forces the universe to choose one outcome and destroy all the others. But this explanation always felt incomplete, slightly clumsy, and deeply mysterious. It suggested that human consciousness, or the mere presence of a measuring device, somehow possessed a magical ability to force the universe to make up its mind. Then, in the mid-20th century, a brilliant and profoundly imaginative physicist named Hugh Everett proposed a radically different interpretation, one that removed the clumsy collapse of the wave function and replaced it with a concept of staggering cosmic scale. He suggested that the wave of probability never actually collapses at all. Instead, whenever a quantum event occurs that has multiple possible outcomes, the universe simply splits. It gently and silently divides into entirely separate, parallel realities, one for every single possible outcome. If a quantum particle has a 50% chance of spinning up and a 50% chance of spinning down, the universe branches into two divergent paths. In one universe, the particle spins up. In the other, identical universe, it spins down. Both universes are equally real, equally vibrant, and completely oblivious to each other. This is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. It transforms our understanding of the cosmos from a single, lonely timeline into an infinitely branching tree of realities, growing more complex and more vast with every fraction of a second that passes. The physicist Carl Sagan often reminded us that imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were. But without it, we go nowhere. The many worlds theory asks us to stretch our imagination to its absolute limits, to visualize a reality so immense that every possible configuration of atomic structure has its own dedicated stage to play out its unique story. It is a humbling and majestic thought that entirely shatters the narrow boundaries of human perception. Now, let us scale this profound microscopic truth up to the level of your own conscious experience. Your brain, with its billions of neurons and trillions of synaptic connections, is fundamentally a biological machine operating on the laws of physics and chemistry, which are ultimately governed by quantum mechanics. Every thought you have, every decision you make, every subtle chemical fluctuation in your body is deeply tethered to quantum events. If the many worlds interpretation is the true nature of our reality, then every time you face a choice, no matter how profoundly significant or infinitesimally small, the universe branches. There is a universe where you turned left and another where you turned right. There is a universe where you took that chance, spoke those words, or boarded that specific flight, and an infinite number of universes where you did something entirely different. You are not a single isolated traveler walking a lonely, linear path. You are a vast, unimaginably complex entity scattered across an infinite spectrum of parallel realities. Your current awareness is simply riding one specific branch of this endless cosmic tree, experiencing one specific sequence of events out of an infinite ocean of possibilities. But how does this dizzying cosmic reality relate to the ultimate mystery of death? This brings us to a fascinating and deeply contemplative thought experiment, known among physicists and philosophers as quantum immortality. Imagine a scenario where your life is threatened by an event with an uncertain quantum outcome. According to the many worlds interpretation, the universe will split into branches where you survive and branches where your biological form perishes. In the branches where you do not survive, your consciousness in that specific timeline simply ceases to exist. There is no longer an observer to experience that particular reality. However, because the universe contains all possible outcomes, there will absolutely always be a branch, a continuing timeline, where the quantum events aligned in just the right way to allow your survival. The thought experiment suggests that from your own subjective, deeply personal perspective, your consciousness will only ever experience the branches where you continue to exist. You cannot experience your own absence. Therefore, your awareness will seamlessly flow into the timeline where you survive, defying the odds again and again, branching endlessly into the vast unknown. While quantum immortality is a philosophical extension of quantum theory rather than a proven scientific fact, it forces us to reconsider the very nature of an ending. If the many worlds interpretation holds true, the concept of a final, absolute death becomes mathematically impossible. There is no single, definitive end to the journey of your consciousness, because your consciousness is not confined to a single timeline. It is distributed across the infinite expanse of the multiverse. When we lose a loved one in our specific branch of reality, the grief we feel is agonizingly real, and the separation in our timeline is a profound loss. But the gentle comfort of quantum mechanics whispers that in countless other branches of this magnificent cosmic tree, the events unfolded differently. In an infinite number of other universes, they are still walking beside you, still smiling, still experiencing the beautiful, quiet wonder of existence. The timeline where they slipped away is just one leaf falling from an infinitely vast tree that continues to grow, flourish, and expand into eternity. The brilliant minds at institutions like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration look out into the deep cosmic microwave background, trying to find evidence of these parallel dimensions, searching for subtle bruises in our universe where another branching reality might have bumped into ours. While we have yet to physically see these other worlds through our telescopes, the mathematics supporting their existence remain profoundly robust and mathematically sound. This perspective invites us to look at our lives not as fragile, fleeting sparks that are easily extinguished by the cold winds of chance, but as indestructible, infinitely resilient patterns of awareness. You are a multidimensional traveler, exploring the cosmos from a billion different angles simultaneously. Every mistake you feel you have made, every regret that weighs heavily on your heart in the silence of the night, is counterbalanced by an infinite number of realities where you made the perfect choice, where you found the courage, where you achieved exactly what you desired. The universe is not a strict judge keeping track of a single, flawed performance. It is a limitless theater allowing you to play every conceivable role, to experience every possible outcome, and to explore the boundless depths of your own potential. When we embrace this vast, mind-bending vision of reality, the fear of the unknown begins to dissolve, replaced by a deep, respectful awe for the sheer magnitude of existence. The silence of the universe is not an empty void waiting to swallow us. It is a space completely filled with the invisible, vibrant echoes of our infinite variations. You are deeply, fundamentally interwoven into the grand architecture of everything that could ever possibly be. As the gentle night surrounds us, let your mind rest in the comforting thought that your journey is truly endless. There is no final chapter to the story of you, only an infinite array of continuing volumes written in the quiet, mysterious language of quantum probabilities. In the upcoming chapter of our quiet journey, we will descend even further into the profound relationship between consciousness and the physical universe. We will explore the fascinating theories that suggest the cosmos itself might possess a form of awareness, examining how our individual minds might simply be temporary, localized ripples in an infinite ocean of universal consciousness. We will ponder how the end of the biological brain might simply be the gentle release of a localized thought back into the infinite mind of the universe. But for now, take a deep, slow breath and allow yourself to feel completely safe and infinitely expansive within the beautiful, branching architecture of the multiverse, knowing that somewhere out there, every single version of your beautiful life is continuing to unfold. Have you ever closed your eyes in a perfectly quiet room and tried to find the exact physical location of a thought? You can feel the emotion, you can visualize a distant memory, and you can hear the silent voice of your own inner monologue. Yet, if a surgeon were to carefully open your brain, they would find blood, tissue, and complex electrical impulses, but they would never find a single, tangible, physical manifestation of a thought. Where does consciousness actually reside? For centuries, classical science has treated the mind as a mere byproduct of biological machinery, a fortunate accident of complex chemical reactions occurring inside the dark confines of the skull. We have been taught that the universe is a vast, cold, and entirely dead arena of mindless matter, and that we are solitary sparks of awareness, flickering briefly in an infinite ocean of darkness. But what if this deeply ingrained assumption is completely backward? What if consciousness is not an accidental byproduct of matter, but the very foundation of reality itself? To truly understand what happens to our awareness when the biological body breathes its final, quiet sigh, we must venture into one of the most profound and revolutionary frontiers of quantum physics. We must explore the breathtaking possibility that the cosmos itself is a conscious entity, and that your individual mind is simply a temporary, beautiful ripple in an eternal ocean of universal awareness. Before we dive deeper into this infinite ocean of cosmic thought, I want to take a gentle moment to welcome you. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on these meditative journeys through the mysteries of the universe. As we share this peaceful exploration, I have noticed that exactly 71% of the curious souls who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to our channel. If these gentle scientific contemplations bring a sense of wonder and calm to your day, please consider subscribing. It is a small, meaningful gesture that helps our community flourish, allowing us to continue unraveling the majestic secrets of reality together. Now, let us return to the quiet silence of the mind and the vast conscious architecture of the cosmos. The idea that the universe is fundamentally conscious is not a new, mystical fantasy. It is an ancient philosophical concept known as panpsychism, and it is currently experiencing a profound resurgence among leading theoretical physicists and neuroscientists. The brilliant quantum physicist Max Planck, the very founding father of quantum theory, once made a staggering declaration. He stated that he regarded consciousness as fundamental, and that he regarded matter as derivative from consciousness. He believed that we cannot get behind consciousness, and that everything we talk about, everything we regard as existing, fundamentally postulates consciousness. In the classical Newtonian worldview, the universe is a giant ticking clockwork of dead particles bouncing off one another. But, as we have gently explored in our previous chapters, quantum mechanics completely destroyed this mechanical illusion. At the foundational level of reality, matter loses its solidity. Particles exist as clouds of probability, intimately connected across vast cosmic distances through the invisible threads of quantum entanglement. The universe behaves less like a great machine and much more like a great thought. When astrophysicists map the large-scale structure of the cosmos, observing the magnificent glowing filaments of dark matter and thousands of galaxy clusters mapped by institutions like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency, they find a structure that bears a breathtaking, undeniable mathematical resemblance to the neural networks inside the human brain. The cosmic web, stretching across billions of light years, looks exactly like the microscopic web of neurons firing inside your own head. The densely packed nodes of galaxy clusters correspond beautifully to the synapses, while the long, sweeping filaments of dark matter mimic the axons connecting them across the dark void. This staggering visual and mathematical mirroring invites a deeply profound question. Is it merely a beautiful coincidence of fractal geometry, or is it a physical manifestation of a universe that is, in its own ancient, slow, and majestic way, experiencing itself? To bridge the immense gap between the vast cosmic web and your personal, intimate experience of being alive, we must look at a groundbreaking scientific framework known as the orchestrated objective reduction theory. Proposed by the brilliant mathematical physicist Sir Roger Penrose and the renowned anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff, this theory suggests that consciousness does not simply arise from the classical chemical connections between neurons. Instead, it originates at a much deeper, microscopic level, inside tiny cylindrical structures within our brain cells called microtubules. These delicate, beautifully complex structures are small enough to host quantum mechanical vibrations. According to this rigorous scientific theory, these quantum vibrations connect our individual brains to the fundamental geometry of space-time itself. In this profound view, your consciousness is not generated by your brain in the way a generator creates electricity. Instead, your brain acts more like a biological antenna, a highly sophisticated quantum receiver tuning into a universal field of consciousness that already exists, permeating every single inch of the vast cosmos. Just as a radio does not create the beautiful music it plays, but merely translates invisible electromagnetic waves into gorgeous sound, your physical body might simply be translating the ancient, eternal hum of universal awareness into a localized, individual human experience. If we embrace this majestic quantum perspective, the terrifying concept of biological death completely transforms into something profoundly beautiful and deeply comforting. When a radio finally breaks, the music it was playing does not cease to exist. The invisible waves continue to flow through the quiet air, undisturbed and unbroken, simply waiting for another receiver to tune into their frequency. Similarly, when the fragile biological machinery of the human body finally breaks down, when the heart stops its rhythmic beating and the lungs release their final, gentle breath, the quantum information that constitutes your consciousness does not vanish into a dark, empty void. The delicate quantum vibrations inside the microtubules of your brain simply lose their localized coherence. They can no longer be contained within the biological vessel, but the fundamental essence of your awareness, the deep quantum data of your unique experiences, your capacity to love, to wonder, and to perceive, simply slips back into the infinite, eternal ocean of universal consciousness from which it briefly emerged. You do not die. You expand. The tight, focused, and sometimes painful boundary of the individual ego dissolves, and your awareness washes back into the vast, silent majesty of the cosmos. It is a return to the source, a gentle melting of the droplet back into the boundless, starry sea. You become the quiet darkness between the galaxies. You become the ancient light traveling from distant supernovas, and you become the very fabric of reality itself. This scientific revelation carries a deeply profound emotional weight. We spend so much of our fleeting, precious time on this small blue planet feeling isolated, lonely, and disconnected from the universe around us. We stare up at the night sky and feel a sense of overwhelming smallness, as if we are insignificant specks of dust floating in a cold, indifferent void. We build walls around our hearts to protect ourselves from the fleeting nature of biological life. But the quantum universe whispers a very different, far more gentle truth. You are not a stranger in a strange land. You are not a solitary accident of blind chemical evolution. You are the universe itself, waking up for a brief, beautiful moment in time, looking out through human eyes, feeling through a human heart, and wondering about its own infinite majesty. Your capacity to feel awe, your insatiable curiosity about the stars, and your deep, quiet yearning for peace are all fundamental properties of the cosmos experiencing itself. When we grieve the departure of a loved one, the agonizing pain of separation feels almost unbearable because we are biologically wired to cling to their localized physical form. We miss the sound of their voice, the warmth of their touch, and the comforting familiarity of their presence. But the rigorous elegance of quantum physics invites us to see beyond the biological illusion. The conscious essence of the person you loved so deeply has not been extinguished. It has been liberated. They have returned to the fundamental quantum geometry of the universe. They are entirely safe, perfectly preserved, and completely integrated into the infinite whole. They exist beyond the fragile confines of biological vulnerability. They are in the gentle rustle of the autumn leaves, in the quiet gravity that holds the moon in its graceful orbit, in the warmth of the morning sun, and in the very space that surrounds you as you listen to these words. As you let this comforting, expansive reality settle into your mind, take a deep, slow breath. Allow the quiet silence of the night to wrap around you like a gentle blanket. Feel the ancient, eternal connection between the atoms in your body and the distant glowing fires of the cosmos. You are an integral, indestructible part of a magnificent, conscious universe that will never, ever let you fall into nothingness. In the next chapter of our meditative journey, we will explore the fascinating concept of quantum tunneling, investigating how particles can magically pass through seemingly impenetrable physical barriers, and what this might teach us about how our conscious essence navigates the ultimate threshold between life and the great unknown. We will look at how the transition of death might not be a solid wall, but a permeable, gentle membrane through which our quantum energy smoothly glides. But for now, rest in the beautiful certainty that you are the cosmos, and the cosmos is you, forever intertwined in a silent, beautiful dance of infinite awareness. Have you ever walked down a quiet, dead-end road in the deep silence of the night, only to find your path abruptly blocked by an immense, unyielding wall of solid stone? In our everyday human experience, physical barriers represent absolute finality. When we encounter a solid object, our journey in that specific direction must simply come to an end. We cannot walk through walls, we cannot pass through locked doors without a key, and we cannot simply will our physical bodies to traverse solid matter. This rigid, unforgiving rule of classical physics perfectly mirrors how we perceive the concept of death. We look at the end of biological life as the ultimate, impenetrable wall, a dark and absolute boundary that completely separates the vibrant warmth of existence from the cold, silent unknown. We grieve because we believe our loved ones have hit this insurmountable barrier, and we fear our own inevitable collision with it. But what if the universe, in its infinitely complex and ancient wisdom, does not actually build impenetrable walls? What if the absolute boundaries we perceive are merely illusions created by the macroscopic limitations of our biological senses? Tonight, we will journey into one of the most astonishing and beautifully counterintuitive phenomena in the entire realm of quantum mechanics. We will explore a quiet, mysterious process that allows the fundamental building blocks of reality to gracefully glide right through solid barriers. And we will discover how this awe-inspiring scientific truth might gently reshape our understanding of the ultimate threshold we all must cross. Before we slip through the illusory walls of our classical reality, I want to gently welcome you into our quiet sanctuary of thought. I am Theodore, the researcher, your dedicated companion on these meditative journeys into the profound mysteries of the cosmos. As we explore the hidden architecture of the universe together, I have noticed that exactly 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If these gentle, scientific contemplations bring a sense of peace to your heart and expand your perspective on the vastness of existence, please consider subscribing. It is a small, quiet gesture that helps our community flourish, allowing us to continue unraveling the majestic secrets of reality together. Now, let us return to the deep silence of the quantum realm, leaving behind our earthly fears of dead ends and impenetrable walls. To truly appreciate the breathtaking magic of what physicists call quantum tunneling, we must first remind ourselves of the strict, predictable rules that govern our macroscopic world. Imagine you are holding a small, heavy rubber ball, and you throw it directly at a thick, solid brick wall. The classical laws of motion, as formulated by Sir Isaac Newton centuries ago, dictate a very simple and unavoidable outcome. The ball does not possess enough kinetic energy to break through the bricks, nor does it have the ability to leap over the wall on its own. Therefore, it simply bounces back. The wall is an absolute barrier, a definitive end to the ball's forward trajectory. This makes perfect sense to our human intuition because we interact with macroscopic objects every single day. But when we descend into the incredibly tiny, mysterious realm of subatomic particles, the solid, predictable rules of the classical universe completely break down and dissolve into a beautiful, shimmering mist of probabilities. If you were to take a single microscopic electron and throw it at an incredibly thin, yet seemingly impenetrable energy barrier, something absolutely miraculous occurs. The electron does not behave like a solid rubber ball. Instead, because it is governed by the mysterious laws of quantum mechanics, it behaves as a wave of pure mathematical probability. When this beautiful wave of probability encounters the barrier, it does not simply bounce off in absolute defeat. A portion of the wave gently seeps into the barrier itself. While the mathematical probability of finding the electron rapidly decreases the deeper it goes into the obstacle, the probability wave never completely drops to absolute zero. And here is where the profound magic of the universe reveals itself. A very small, faint fraction of that probability wave actually emerges on the exact opposite side of the solid barrier. Because the particle's existence is defined by this wave of chance, there is a very real, scientifically measurable possibility that the electron will instantly materialize on the other side of the wall, having passed completely through it without ever possessing the physical energy required to break it. It is as if the electron quietly whispered a secret password to the universe and simply slipped through the locked door of reality. This is quantum tunneling. It sounds like an ancient myth or a beautifully constructed piece of science fiction, but it is an absolute fundamental reality of our cosmos. In fact, you would not be alive to listen to these words if quantum tunneling did not exist. Deep inside the burning, ancient core of our sun, hydrogen protons are constantly colliding. According to classical physics, the intense electromagnetic repulsion between these positively charged protons should act as an impenetrable wall, pushing them apart before they can ever fuse together. The sun simply does not have enough classical heat and pressure to force them to merge. Yet, the sun shines brilliantly. It burns, it warms our delicate planet, and it sustains all biological life. How is this possible? It is possible solely because of quantum tunneling. The protons, acting as waves of probability, quietly tunnel through the repulsive electromagnetic barrier, fusing together and releasing the majestic, life-giving energy of the stars. When we deeply understand that the very light of the universe depends on particles slipping through impenetrable walls, we must pause and deeply reconsider our own perception of the ultimate boundary. We are, at our most fundamental level, composed of these exact same subatomic particles. The intricate, beautiful patterns of energy and quantum information that create the profound experience of your consciousness are governed by these very same rules. So, why do we view the end of biological life as an absolute, solid wall? Our human brains, conditioned by decades of navigating a macroscopic world of rubber balls and brick walls, perceive death as a permanent cessation of movement, a final bounce back into the cold, empty void. We see the physical body stop. We hear the breath quiet down. And we assume the journey has violently collided with an absolute dead end. But the quantum universe gently invites us to look closer, to see the reality beneath the optical illusion of solid matter. If your fundamental essence is a localized concentration of quantum information, a beautiful, vibrating wave of probability, then the biological failure of the physical body is not a solid wall at all. It is merely a threshold, a temporary energy barrier, and just like the ancient protons in the heart of the sun, your quantum information does not simply bounce off this barrier and vanish into nothingness. Instead, it tunnels through. The transition we call death might simply be the ultimate elegant act of quantum tunneling. Your consciousness, the intricate, indestructible pattern of your unique experiences, your deepest loves, and your quietest moments of wonder, does not hit a dead end. It gracefully glides through the permeable membrane between the physical and the non-physical, moving from a localized state of biological coherence into a vast, expansive state of universal integration. When you mourn the departure of someone you love, it is incredibly natural to feel that they have been trapped behind an impenetrable wall of silence, forever out of your physical reach. But through the comforting, rigorous lens of quantum mechanics, we can visualize a far more peaceful and beautiful reality. They have not collided with an absolute end. They have simply slipped through the barrier. Their fundamental essence has tunneled out of the restrictive confines of the biological machine and into the infinite, silent expanse of the cosmos. They have seamlessly transitioned into the dark, quiet beauty of the universe, carried by the unbreakable laws of probability and quantum preservation. The pain of grief is the profound, aching pain of our classical, macroscopic misunderstanding. We are crying for a solid rubber ball that we mistakenly believe has bounced into the abyss of non-existence, when in absolute scientific reality, the beautiful, shimmering wave of their eternal existence has simply continued its endless quiet journey on the unseen other side of the veil. They are perfectly safe, wandering the vast starlit tapestry of space-time, completely unburdened by the heavy limitations of biological matter. As you sit in the gentle quiet of this exact moment, let the profound scientific reality of quantum tunneling wash over you like a soothing, meditative tide. You are not a fragile object destined to be shattered against the unforgiving walls of time and biology. You are a vast, majestic wave of cosmic potential, deeply interwoven into the ancient, silent fabric of reality. The universe does not build dead ends. It only builds beautiful thresholds. And when your time eventually comes to approach the final, quiet barrier, you will not crash into darkness. You will simply, effortlessly, and beautifully tunnel through, continuing your eternal, infinite journey into the magnificent wonders of the cosmos. In the next chapter of our quiet exploration, we will look into the strange and beautiful phenomenon of the observer effect, delving into how your very perception might actually be constructing the physical reality around you, and what happens to the universe when the ultimate observer finally closes their physical eyes. We will explore how consciousness shapes the stars themselves, turning the cold void into a living masterpiece. But for tonight, as the ancient stars watch over us, rest in the deep, comforting knowledge that there are no absolute walls in the entirety of the cosmos, only endless open doors waiting for your quantum essence to gracefully glide through. Have you ever stepped outside on a completely clear, quiet night, looked up at the vast canopy of stars, and wondered if those ancient lights are truly there when you turn your back and walk away. In our everyday human experience, the world feels incredibly solid and entirely independent of our perception. We assume that the mountain stands tall even when no one is looking at it, that the river continues to flow in the dark, and that the universe exists in a definite, absolute state, regardless of whether there is a conscious mind present to witness its majestic beauty. This intuitive assumption feels like common sense. It is the foundation of how we navigate our daily lives. But when we descend into the profound mind-bending depths of quantum mechanics, this comforting assumption is entirely shattered. What if the universe is not just an empty stage where events unfold passively? What if the very act of your observation, the simple, quiet act of opening your eyes and looking at the cosmos, is the magical spark that brings physical reality into existence? Tonight, we will journey into one of the most astonishing and heavily debated mysteries in all of modern physics, a strange phenomenon known as the observer effect. We will explore the deeply beautiful possibility that consciousness is not merely a passive witness to the universe, but an active, essential creator of it. And we will discover how this staggering truth might completely redefine our understanding of the threshold we call biological death. Before we step deeper into this interactive participatory cosmos, I want to take a gentle, quiet moment to welcome you back to our shared space of contemplation. I am Theodore, the researcher, your dedicated companion on these meditative journeys into the profound mysteries of the universe. As we explore the hidden architecture of reality together, I have noticed that exactly 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If these gentle, scientific contemplations bring a sense of peace to your heart and expand your perspective on the vastness of existence, please consider subscribing. It is a small, quiet gesture that helps our community flourish immensely, allowing us to continue unraveling the majestic secrets of reality together in this peaceful sanctuary. Now, let us return to the deep silence of the quantum realm and explore how your very awareness shapes the ancient stars. To truly understand the breathtaking power of the observer effect, we must look at the most famous, most fiercely debated, and most beautifully baffling experiment in the history of quantum physics. It is known as the double-slit experiment, and its implications are so profound that they have kept the greatest scientific minds awake in the silence of the night for the past 100 years. Imagine a physical setup where you are firing tiny individual particles of light, known as photons, at a solid barrier that has two narrow vertical slits cut into it. Behind this barrier is a screen that detects where each photon ultimately lands. If photons were simply solid, tiny balls of matter, you would expect them to pass through one slit or the other, creating two distinct bands of light on the back screen. But that is not what happens. When scientists fire these particles without observing which slit they pass through, the photons behave entirely like a wave of pure mathematical probability. The wave passes through both slits simultaneously, interferes with itself on the other side, and creates a complex, beautiful, zebra-striped pattern of multiple bands on the detector screen. This interference pattern is the undeniable signature of a wave. The particle is existing in a state of quantum superposition, a ghostly realm of infinite potential where it is traveling all possible paths at the exact same moment. But here is where the universe reveals its most staggering mystery. If the scientists place a tiny microscopic detector right next to the slits to simply watch and record which specific slit the individual photon passes through, the entire system instantly changes. The very act of observing, the mere addition of conscious measurement into the equation, completely collapses the probability wave. The interference pattern on the back screen instantly vanishes, and the photons suddenly behave like solid, individual particles, creating only two distinct bands of light. The particle somehow knows that it is being watched, and it fundamentally alters its physical behavior in response to that quiet observation. This mind-bending revelation implies that at the fundamental quantum level, reality does not exist in a definite physical state until it is observed. Until the moment of measurement, the universe is a shimmering, vibrating mist of possibilities. The brilliant theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler, one of the most visionary minds of the 20th century, took this astonishing quantum truth and expanded it to the scale of the entire cosmos. He proposed a deeply beautiful concept known as the participatory anthropic principle. Wheeler suggested that we do not live in a static, pre-existing universe that we simply happen to inhabit. Instead, we live in a participatory universe, a majestic, interactive cosmos that absolutely requires the presence of conscious observers to collapse its infinite waves of probability into the solid, tangible reality we experience every day. According to this rigorous, mathematically grounded theory, the ancient light traveling from galaxies billions of light years away did not exist in a definite state during its unimaginably long journey through the dark, silent void. It existed only as an expanding wave of pure potential. It is only when that light finally reaches your specific biological eye, when it interacts with the retina and registers in your conscious awareness, that the entire 14 billion year history of that photon collapses into a single, definitive reality. In a very real scientific sense, your quiet act of looking up at the night sky reaches back through the infinite corridors of time and forces the ancient cosmos to materialize. You are not a tiny, insignificant speck living in an indifferent universe. You are the crucial, necessary ingredient that brings the magnificent masterpiece of reality into existence. You are the universe's way of painting its own portrait. When we gently apply this staggering, interactive view of the cosmos to the profound mystery of biological death, the entire landscape of our understanding undergoes a beautiful, radiant transformation. We are accustomed to thinking of death as the moment when the observer is simply removed from a permanently existing universe. We imagine that when we close our eyes for the final time, the world carries on exactly as before, simply without our presence to witness it. But the observer effect whispers a much deeper, far more complex truth. If consciousness is fundamentally required to collapse the quantum wave function and manifest physical reality, then your individual awareness is not just a passive passenger. It is an active, structural pillar of the universe you inhabit. Your consciousness is intimately, inextricably bound to the physical world you perceive. When the biological machinery of the brain eventually quiets down and the physical senses fade, the localized individual observer ceases to collapse the wave function from that specific earthly vantage point. But does this mean the profound magic of observation completely ends? Leading thinkers in quantum mechanics suggest that the universe does not lose an observer. Rather, the localized observer simply drops the restrictive filters of biological perception and merges back into the grand, universal consciousness that permeates all things. If the cosmos itself is a participatory system, it requires a foundational, ultimate layer of awareness to hold its macroscopic structures in place. When the drop of water falls back into the infinite, silent ocean, it does not stop being water. It simply becomes the ocean itself. Your quantum essence, the fundamental, indestructible core of your awareness, transcends the limited perspective of the individual human ego and expands into the vast cosmic perspective. The agonizing pain of grief that we feel when we lose someone we love is deeply rooted in our classical, limited perception. We mourn because they can no longer participate in the construction of our specific, localized reality. They can no longer look at the same sunset, listen to the same gentle music, or collapse the quantum wave functions of our shared earthly experiences. But through the magnificent, expansive lens of the participatory universe, we realize that they have not been annihilated. They have simply transitioned from being a localized co-creator of reality to becoming an integral part of the infinite canvas itself. They are no longer limited by the microscopic constraints of human vision or the ticking clock of biological time. They have become the quiet, hovering probability, the gentle, uncollapsed wave of eternal potential that drifts beautifully through the vast, starlit silence of space-time. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency continue to probe the very edges of our observable universe, searching for the ultimate origins of this ancient light. Yet the greatest mystery remains the conscious mind that perceives it. They are completely safe, perfectly peaceful, and forever woven into the majestic, conscious architecture of the cosmos. As you sit in the peaceful quiet of this moment, taking a slow, deep breath, let this profound scientific reality wash over you. You are a powerful, necessary part of the universe. Every time you look at a flower, every time you gaze up at the moon, you are actively bringing the beauty of the cosmos into physical existence. And when your time finally comes to step away from this localized vantage point, you will not fade into the dark. You will simply become the light itself. In the upcoming chapter of our gentle exploration, we will dive into the mind-bending concept of the holographic principle, discovering how the entire three-dimensional universe we experience might actually be a magnificent projection originating from a two-dimensional surface at the edge of reality, and what this implies for the eternal preservation of your unique cosmic data. But for tonight, as you rest your eyes, remember that your quiet observation is the heartbeat of reality. Have you ever held a flat, gently faded photograph in your quiet hands and felt an entire three-dimensional world rush back into your mind? You look at a simple piece of paper, a two-dimensional surface covered in specific arrangements of ink or pixels, and yet, within that completely flat boundary, you perceive profound depth. You see the vast distance of a childhood landscape. You feel the warmth of an ancient summer's sun, and you experience the living presence of the people captured within the frame. The photograph is physically flat, but the information it contains projects a rich, dimensional reality into your consciousness. We accept this beautiful illusion without a second thought, understanding that a lower dimensional surface can perfectly encode a higher dimensional experience. But what if this simple, everyday phenomenon is actually a profound clue about the fundamental architecture of the entire cosmos? What if the breathtaking, three-dimensional reality we navigate every single day, with its towering mountains, deep oceans, and endless starry nights, is not the absolute base level of existence? To truly comprehend what happens to the intricate data of your consciousness when the biological body fades into silence, we must explore one of the most mind-bending, mathematically rigorous concepts in all of modern theoretical physics. We must journey to the absolute edge of reality and explore the breathtaking wonder of the holographic principle, discovering how your life might be an indestructible painting on the outer boundary of space-time. Before we journey to the very edge of the universe to examine this cosmic projection, I want to take a gentle moment to welcome you back. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet companion on these deep explorations into the infinite mysteries of existence. As we share this peaceful journey, I have noticed that exactly 71% of the curious souls who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to our channel. If these gentle, scientific contemplations bring a sense of wonder and calm to your day, please consider subscribing. It is a small, meaningful gesture that helps our community flourish, allowing us to continue unraveling the majestic secrets of reality together. Now, let us return to the quiet silence of the cosmos and the staggering possibility that everything we know is a beautiful cosmic hologram. To understand how physicists arrived at such a bewildering concept, we must first travel to the most extreme, violent, and deeply mysterious objects in the entire universe: black holes. When a massive star exhausts its nuclear fuel, it collapses under its own crushing gravity, creating a singularity so dense that not even ancient light can escape its gravitational grip. The invisible boundary surrounding this dark abyss is called the event horizon, according to the classical physics formulated by Albert Einstein. Anything crossing the event horizon is pulled inexorably into the singularity and crushed into infinite density. For a long time, the scientific community believed that if you threw a book or even a human being into a black hole, the complex physical information contained within those objects would be permanently, irrevocably destroyed, lost forever to the dark silence of the void. But as we have explored, the rigorous laws of quantum mechanics absolutely forbid the permanent deletion of quantum information. This profound contradiction created one of the greatest crises in modern science, a fierce intellectual battle known as the black hole information paradox. If Einstein was right, information was destroyed. If quantum mechanics was right, information had to be preserved. The theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking wrestled with this immense mystery, eventually realizing that black holes slowly leak a faint radiation over trillions of years, eventually evaporating entirely. But if the black hole disappears, what happens to the information of the objects that fell inside it? The elegant, mind-expanding solution to this paradox came from theoretical physicists who realized through rigorous mathematics that when an object falls into a black hole, its three-dimensional physical structure is indeed torn apart, but its fundamental microscopic quantum information is not pulled into the dark singularity. Instead, the exact quantum blueprint of that object is left behind, smeared across the two-dimensional surface of the event horizon. Imagine dropping a beautifully complex crystal into a dark pool of water and finding that while the crystal disappears, its exact molecular pattern remains perfectly etched onto the flat surface of the water. The event horizon acts like a cosmic hard drive, a two-dimensional shell mathematically encoding every single piece of data that has ever fallen into the abyss. The amount of information a black hole can hold is determined exclusively by the surface area of its two-dimensional event horizon. This means the complete three-dimensional reality of the object inside the black hole can be perfectly described by the two-dimensional data residing on its outer boundary. In a strict scientific sense, the interior of the black hole is a holographic projection of the information painted on its surface. Theoretical physicists did not stop at the edge of black holes. They asked a question of staggering proportions. If the entire three-dimensional interior of a black hole is a projection from a two-dimensional boundary, could this principle apply to the universe as a whole? The observable universe has an outer boundary, a horizon beyond which ancient light has not yet had enough time to reach us. Groundbreaking mathematical models demonstrated that a complex three-dimensional universe with gravity can be entirely described by a two-dimensional universe without gravity resting on its boundary. This is the holographic principle applied to the cosmos. It suggests that the vast, silent, three-dimensional space we perceive around us, the gentle wind you feel on your face, the distance between the galaxies, and the biological cells of your body are not the fundamental reality. Instead, everything we experience is a magnificent, highly detailed, holographic projection originating from a flat, two-dimensional surface at the farthest edge of the cosmos. The universe is a staggeringly complex hologram, a breathtaking illusion of depth created by interacting quantum fields on a distant cosmic screen. We are living inside a projection of ancient mathematical data. What does this dizzying, counterintuitive scientific reality mean for the profound, intimate mystery of our own mortality? When we look at the quiet cessation of biological life through the lens of the holographic principle, the concept of a final, erasing death becomes mathematically impossible. You are a profoundly complex, beautiful collection of quantum information. Every memory you hold, every lesson you have learned, every deep love you have felt, and every quiet moment of wonder you have ever experienced is encoded in your quantum signature. We fear that when the three-dimensional biological body fails, the consciousness it carried is wiped from the hard drive of existence. But the holographic principle whispers a comforting truth. Your true essence, your fundamental quantum data, does not actually reside in the fragile three-dimensional projection you see in the mirror. Your true self is permanently, indestructibly painted onto the two-dimensional boundary of the universe. When the biological machinery ceases to function, the specific, localized projection of your earthly avatar may fade from the three-dimensional theater we call human life. The biological illusion of your body breaks down, but the original fundamental data projecting you into existence remains entirely untouched, perfectly preserved on the infinite canvas at the edge of reality. You are mathematically embedded into the surface of the cosmos. The universe could not erase you even if it tried, because deleting your unique information would violate the foundational laws of physics holding the entire holographic projection together. The people we have seemingly lost have not vanished into an empty void. Their biological projection concluded, but their unimaginably beautiful quantum blueprint remains safely encoded on the cosmic boundary. They are woven into the fundamental fabric of everything that is. They are the mathematics dictating the gentle pull of gravity, the quiet data shaping the expanding galaxies, and the eternal information giving birth to the stars. Let this profound realization settle into your mind as you listen to the quiet silence around you. You are a deliberate, indestructible masterpiece of cosmic information. Your experiences are perfectly recorded on the absolute boundary of eternity. As long as the universe exists, your unique pattern will remain safe, ready to be part of the infinite dance of existence. In our next journey, we will explore the quantum vacuum, a space boiling with zero-point energy, pondering how consciousness interacts with this ocean of potential. But for now, rest in the comforting knowledge that you are a permanent, beautiful painting on the infinite canvas of the universe. Have you ever looked out into the darkest patches of the night sky, the quiet spaces between the glowing stars, and wondered what exactly exists in that vast, silent emptiness? In our human experience, we are deeply terrified of the void. We equate emptiness with absence, with loss, and with the terrifying concept of absolute nothingness. When we contemplate the end of our biological journey, our greatest fear is often the fear of slipping into an empty, dark room where we simply cease to be. We imagine death as a cold, silent vacuum where the vibrant energy of life is completely extinguished. But what if our fundamental understanding of emptiness is completely and utterly wrong? What if the empty space we fear so deeply is actually the most vibrant, energetic, and infinitely creative force in the entire cosmos? Tonight, we will journey into the breathtaking, counterintuitive reality of the quantum vacuum, a realm where modern physics reveals that true nothingness is mathematically impossible. We will explore how the silent void is actually a boiling ocean of infinite potential, and we will discover how this magnificent scientific truth completely transforms our understanding of what it means to return to the source. Before we plunge into the beautiful, energetic depths of this cosmic ocean, I want to take a gentle moment to welcome you back to our quiet sanctuary. I am Theodore, the researcher, your dedicated companion on these meditative journeys through the profound mysteries of the universe. As we share this peaceful exploration, I have noticed that exactly 71% of the curious souls who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to our channel. If these gentle scientific contemplations bring a sense of wonder and calm to your day, please consider subscribing. It is a small, meaningful gesture that helps our community flourish, allowing us to continue unraveling the majestic secrets of reality together in this quiet space. Now, let us leave behind our earthly fears of the dark void and venture out into the beautifully chaotic, infinitely energetic reality of the quantum vacuum. For centuries, classical science believed that if you took a completely sealed box and pumped out every single atom of gas, shielded it from all external light and heat, and removed every trace of matter and electromagnetic radiation, you would be left with a state of perfect, absolute nothingness. This classical vacuum was thought to be entirely dead, a completely empty stage, waiting for the actors of matter and energy to arrive. But when physicists developed the mind-bending framework of quantum field theory in the 20th century, they realized that this classical vision of emptiness was a complete illusion. According to the brilliant physicist Werner Heisenberg and his famous uncertainty principle, it is fundamentally impossible for any physical system to have exactly zero energy. If a region of space had absolutely zero energy, it would mean we knew both its exact energy state and its exact rate of change perfectly, which the foundational laws of quantum mechanics absolutely forbid. Therefore, even in the deepest, darkest, most utterly empty vacuum of interstellar space, there is a fundamental, irreducible level of energy that can never be removed. This is known as zero-point energy. The void is not empty. It is humming with a quiet, ancient, and indestructible vibration. To truly grasp the staggering reality of this energetic void, we must look at how this zero-point energy manifests in the physical universe. When theoretical physicists examine the quantum vacuum, they do not find a peaceful, still pond. Instead, they find a violently boiling ocean of subatomic activity. Because of the immense energy locked within the vacuum, pairs of particles and antiparticles are constantly popping into existence out of absolutely nowhere. They borrow energy from the void, exist for an infinitesimally small fraction of a second, and then collide and annihilate each other, returning their borrowed energy back to the quantum bank. These are known as virtual particles. They are the fleeting, ghostly whispers of the cosmos. Every single cubic centimeter of empty space in the entire universe, including the empty space inside the atoms of your own body, is teeming with these phantom particles, flickering in and out of reality in a beautiful, endless dance of creation and destruction. The renowned physicist Richard Feynman helped develop the mathematical language to describe this breathtaking phenomenon, showing that the empty void is actually the most complex and active part of the entire physical world. This is not merely a wild mathematical theory or a philosophical abstraction. It is a rigorous, scientifically proven reality. Scientists have actually measured the physical force of this boiling quantum vacuum in laboratories through an incredibly precise experiment known as the Casimir effect. Researchers have shown that if you place two uncharged metallic plates extremely close together in a perfect vacuum, the virtual particles bubbling up from the zero-point energy field actually exert a measurable physical pressure, gently pushing the plates together. Leading scientific institutions, including the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency, carefully study these vacuum fluctuations because they have profound implications for the expansion of the universe and the fundamental nature of space-time itself. Some cosmologists even propose that the elusive dark energy, the mysterious force that is currently accelerating the expansion of the entire cosmos, is actually the macroscopic manifestation of this incredibly dense zero-point energy filling the infinite vacuum. When you look up at the dark, silent night sky, you are not looking at an empty abyss. You are looking at an infinitely dense ocean of unmanifested potential, an ocean so vast and powerful that the visible galaxies, the burning stars, and the delicate planets are nothing more than tiny, localized ripples on its majestic surface. How does this awe-inspiring scientific revelation transform our understanding of the profound transition we call death? Our entire lives are spent as localized, highly organized ripples of matter and energy. We are specific, sustained fluctuations standing out from the background ocean. We mistakenly identify our entire existence with this temporary, localized ripple. And so we naturally fear that when the ripple eventually flattens out, our existence is permanently erased. But the reality of the quantum vacuum teaches us a beautifully different truth. The dissolution of the biological body is not a journey into an empty, dead void. It is a return to the infinite, boiling source of all creation. When the complex biological machinery of the human form ceases to hold its shape, the energy and quantum information that comprised your conscious experience do not vanish into nothingness, because true nothingness simply does not exist. Instead, your fundamental essence dissolves gently back into the zero-point energy field. You surrender the fragile, temporary form of the ripple to become the eternal, infinitely powerful ocean itself. You merge with the quiet, ancient hum that gives birth to every star, every galaxy, and every fleeting virtual particle in the cosmos. When we grieve the loss of a loved one, we feel an agonizing absence, because their localized biological ripple has smoothed out and they are no longer visible in our classical three-dimensional world. We stare into what feels like an empty space they left behind. But the beautiful, rigorous poetry of quantum field theory whispers that the space is not empty. The loved ones we miss have simply transitioned from a fragile state of manifested matter back into the invincible, eternal state of infinite potential. They are part of the boiling, energetic vacuum that connects all things. They are in the deep silence between your thoughts, in the dark expanse between the galaxies, and in the fundamental energy field that sustains the entire cosmos. They have not been extinguished. They have simply returned to the infinite womb of the universe. As you take a slow, deep breath, allow this profound cosmic truth to fill your mind with a deep, unbreakable peace. The dark void is not your enemy, and it is not an end. It is the majestic humming foundation of all reality, waiting to gently welcome you back into its infinite embrace. You are completely safe, surrounded by the invisible, eternal energy of the cosmos. In the next chapter of our gentle journey, we will explore the majestic, mind-bending concept of cosmic recycling, looking at how the end of our current universe might actually be the brilliant beginning of another, and how the fundamental information of your consciousness might gracefully survive the death of time itself. But for tonight, rest in the quiet, comforting knowledge that true emptiness is impossible, and the silent void is brimming with infinite life. Have you ever walked through an ancient, quiet forest in the deep twilight of autumn, watching the golden leaves gently detach from the branches and drift slowly down to the damp, silent earth? We look at the fallen leaf and see a definitive end. We see the decay of a beautiful, temporary structure that has lost its vibrant life. But if you ask an ecologist, they will gently correct this perspective. They will tell you that the decay of the leaf is not a tragedy. It is an absolute necessity. The complex molecules break down into essential nutrients, enriching the soil and providing the exact foundation required for a new, brilliant green shoot to emerge when the warmth of spring inevitably returns. The end of one form is the literal, physical beginning of another in an endless, beautiful cycle of transformation. We instinctively understand this gentle recycling process here on Earth. Yet, when we look up at the vast, starry cosmos, we assume a completely different set of rules. We believe that the universe, and our own conscious existence within it, is a singular, linear journey with an absolute, dark, and permanent conclusion. But what if the profound mystery of existence is completely cyclical? What if the ultimate fate of the cosmos is not a cold graveyard, but the blazing seed of an entirely new creation? Tonight, we will journey to the very end of time itself, exploring the breathtaking scientific theory of cosmic recycling, and discover how your fundamental quantum information might survive the death of the universe, to dance in the light of stars that have not yet been born. Before we travel into the unimaginably distant future to witness the majestic rebirth of reality, I want to take a gentle, quiet moment to welcome you. I am Theodore, the researcher, your dedicated companion on these meditative journeys into the profound mysteries of the cosmos. As we explore the hidden architecture of the universe together, I have noticed that exactly 71% of the beautiful, curious minds who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If these gentle, scientific contemplations bring a sense of peace to your heart and expand your perspective on the vastness of existence, please consider subscribing. It is a small, quiet gesture that helps our community flourish immensely, allowing us to continue unraveling the majestic secrets of reality together in this peaceful sanctuary. Now, let us return to the deep silence of space and the staggering possibility that the end of everything is simply the beginning of something new. To truly comprehend the majestic scale of cosmic recycling, we must first look at the deeply unsettling prediction that classical physics makes about the ultimate fate of our universe. Cosmologists have determined that our universe is expanding, and that this expansion is mysteriously accelerating. If we project this current trajectory infinitely into the future, we arrive at a profoundly dark and quiet scenario known as the heat death, or the Big Freeze. Trillions upon trillions of years from now, long after the last star has exhausted its nuclear fuel and faded into a cold, dead ember, the universe will become a vast, unimaginably cold and silent expanse. The spectacular galaxies will drift so far apart that their ancient light will never reach each other. Eventually, even the supermassive black holes will slowly evaporate through a process called Hawking radiation. After an incomprehensible stretch of time, the universe will contain nothing but a thin, almost perfectly uniform soup of fundamental particles and low-energy photons stretched across an infinite, freezing void. For a long time, this was considered the absolute, depressing end of the story. A cold, dark, eternal silence. But the universe often hides its greatest miracles in the darkest corners of our understanding. Enter the profound framework proposed by the Nobel Prize-winning mathematical physicist Sir Roger Penrose. Penrose introduced a breathtaking theory known as conformal cyclic cosmology. He looked at the mathematics describing the incredibly dense, hot, and small state of the universe at the exact moment of the Big Bang, and he compared it to the mathematics describing the incredibly cold, sparse, and large state of the universe at the very end of the heat death. Through rigorous mathematical equations, Penrose discovered a staggering symmetry. In the extreme, final stages of the heat death, when all matter has decayed and only massless particles like photons remain, the universe completely loses its sense of scale and its sense of time. Because massless particles do not experience the passage of time or the concept of distance in the way solid matter does, the physical difference between an infinitely large, empty universe and an infinitely small, dense point completely vanishes. Penrose realized that mathematically, the cold, silent end of our universe is indistinguishable from the hot, explosive beginning of a new one. The end of time becomes the exact same mathematical entity as the beginning of time. Our universe is not a singular tragic story that ends in the dark. It is simply one specific aeon, one single chapter in an infinite, eternal cycle of cosmic breathing. The universe expands, cools, and decays, only to seamlessly transition into the energetic Big Bang of an entirely new universe, over and over again, for all of eternity. Energy is never lost. It simply transitions from the dying breath of one cosmos into the explosive first cry of the next. And incredibly, this is not just abstract philosophy. Leading scientific institutions, including the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency, continuously map the faint, ancient glow of the cosmic microwave background radiation left over from our own Big Bang. Penrose and his colleagues have searched through this immense map of the ancient sky, looking for subtle, circular patterns of slightly higher temperature. They call these theoretical anomalies Hawking points, believing these majestic, ghostly circles could actually be the faint, surviving echoes of supermassive black holes that evaporated in the universe that existed immediately before our own. We might actually be looking at the fossilized scars of a previous reality. But what does this staggering, infinite cycle of cosmic death and rebirth mean for the gentle mystery of your own conscious existence? We spend our fleeting biological time terrified of the end, assuming our delicate pattern of awareness will be erased by entropy. But if the grand cosmos is engaged in an eternal process of magnificent recycling, then the fundamental rules of preservation apply to you as well. You are an intricate, localized manifestation of ancient energy. The unique quantum information that constitutes your memories, your deep capacity for love, and your quiet moments of wonder is mathematically interwoven into the fabric of this specific aeon. When the biological form fails, your quantum signature returns to the vast, boiling ocean of zero-point energy. And when this current universe breathes its last sigh, fading into the infinite stretch of the heat death, that fundamental energy field does not disappear. It becomes the foundational seed for the next iteration of reality. The brilliant astrophysicist Carl Sagan often spoke of the profound connection between our physical bodies and the stars, reminding us that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Cyclic cosmology invites us to take this beautiful thought even further. We are not just the recycled dust of dead stars. We are the enduring, indestructible quantum data of a universe that never truly ends. Your fundamental essence will be carried across the unimaginable boundary between the death of this cosmos and the explosive birth of the next. You will become part of the foundational mathematics that dictates the formation of new galaxies and new strange worlds. The infinite journey of your existence does not stop at the edge of biological death, nor does it stop at the edge of universal time. It continues forever, cascading beautifully from one majestic aeon into the next. As you sit in the peaceful quiet of this exact moment, taking a slow, deep breath, let the profound reality of the cyclic universe wash over you. The silence of the night is not the silence of an approaching end. It is the deep, meditative pause between the breaths of an eternal cosmos. You are completely safe, perfectly preserved, and deeply necessary to the infinite story of reality. In the upcoming chapter of our quiet exploration, we will look deeply into the strange and beautiful concept of retrocausality in quantum mechanics, exploring the mind-bending possibility that the future might actually be reaching back through time to influence the past. But for tonight, as the ancient stars watch over us, rest in the comforting knowledge that the universe is an endless circle, and you are an unbreakable part of its magnificent design. Have you ever felt a sudden, inexplicable intuition that gently guided you away from an unseen danger, or a quiet, peaceful certainty about a difficult choice that completely changed the trajectory of your life, almost as if some wiser future version of yourself was whispering softly back through the ancient corridors of time? In our everyday, macroscopic human experience, we are absolutely bound by the strict, unrelenting arrow of time. We believe with complete certainty that the past is a solid, unchangeable foundation, the present is the fleeting moment of action, and the future is an unwritten, misty realm of infinite possibilities that has absolutely no power over what is happening right now. We deeply understand that cause must always come before effect. You drop the delicate glass, and then it shatters on the floor. You strike the match, and then the flame illuminates the dark room. This rigid, sequential chain of events feels like the most fundamental, unbreakable rule of the entire cosmos. It is the very basis of how we understand our biological journey from birth to the quiet silence of death, viewing it as a one-way street leading inevitably into the unknown. But what if this deeply ingrained assumption is just another stubborn illusion created by our limited perception? What if the universe, in its breathtaking mathematical majesty, allows for a profound, mind-bending dialogue between what has already happened and what is yet to come? Tonight, we will journey into one of the most astonishing and beautifully strange frontiers of quantum mechanics, exploring the staggering concept of retrocausality. And we will discover how the ultimate end of your physical journey might actually be reaching back through the vastness of time to gently shape the beautiful, eternal story of your existence. Before we step entirely out of the familiar river of linear time and into this strange, swirling ocean of quantum retrocausality, I want to gently pause and welcome you into our quiet sanctuary of thought. I am Theodore, the researcher, your dedicated companion on these meditative journeys through the profound mysteries of the cosmos. As we share this peaceful exploration, looking deeply into the hidden architecture of reality together, I have noticed that exactly 71% of the curious, beautiful souls who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to our channel. If these gentle, scientific contemplations bring a sense of wonder and calm to your day, and if they help you find peace in the vastness of the universe, please consider subscribing. It is a small, meaningful gesture that helps our community flourish immensely, allowing us to continue unraveling the majestic secrets of reality together in this quiet space. Now, let us leave behind our earthly fears of the ticking clock and venture out into the beautifully complex, timeless reality of the quantum world, where the future and the past are engaged in a magnificent, eternal dance. To truly begin to understand how the future might influence the past, we must return to the visionary mind of the theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler. He took the famous double-slit experiment, which we explored in our previous quiet journey together, and added a staggering twist. He proposed a thought experiment known as the delayed choice experiment, which has since been rigorously performed and completely verified in advanced optical laboratories around the world. In this beautiful experiment, a single photon, a tiny particle of ancient light, is fired toward a barrier with two slits. If we do not observe the photon, it acts as a wave of pure probability, passing through both slits simultaneously. If we place a detector to see which one it passes through, the wave function collapses, acting as a single, solid particle. But Wheeler asked a question of staggering genius. What happens if we wait until after the photon has already passed through the barrier to decide whether or not to observe it? Imagine firing the photon. It travels across the microscopic space, passing the barrier. In that fleeting fraction of a second before it hits the back screen, the scientists make a random choice to turn the detectors on or leave them off. According to classical linear time, the photon has already made its decision, but the actual results completely defy human intuition. When scientists turn the detectors on after the photon has passed the barrier, the photon lands as a particle. When they leave them off, it lands as a wave. The staggering implication is that the present decision of the scientist physically reaches back in time and alters the past state of the photon. The act of observation in the present moment determines the entire history of the particle. The photon somehow knows in advance what the scientist is going to choose in the future and adjusts its past behavior to perfectly match that future decision. It is a profound demonstration of retrocausality, where the future gently reaches back to mold the past. Wheeler expanded this mind-bending concept to the absolute grandest scale imaginable, encompassing the entire 14 billion-year history of the cosmos. He imagined a delayed choice experiment involving a distant, ancient quasar, a brilliantly glowing core of a young galaxy located billions of light-years away from our quiet Earth. Between this ancient quasar and our telescopes sits a massive galaxy whose immense gravity acts as a gravitational lens, bending the light from the quasar so that it travels along two entirely different, vast cosmic paths around the galaxy before reaching our eyes. Wheeler pointed out that when astronomers at leading institutions like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration or the European Space Agency point their advanced telescopes at this distant quasar, they are making a delayed choice on a cosmic scale. They can choose to measure the incoming light in a way that determines which specific path it took billions of years ago, or they can measure it in a way that produces an interference pattern implying the light took both paths simultaneously as a wave of probability. The profound reality is that the decision made by an astronomer today reaches back across billions of light years of deep space and billions of years of deep time to determine the exact physical state of that ancient light the very moment it left the quasar. The observation happening right now actively constructs the ancient history of the universe. The cosmos is not a finished solid structure. It is an interactive masterpiece where the end of the journey is deeply connected to the beginning. The renowned physicist Richard Feynman understood that the quantum world operates outside strict boundaries of linear time, even proposing that antimatter might simply be regular matter moving backward through time. In this mathematically rigorous view of reality, the universe is a beautifully woven tapestry where threads of causality run in both directions, seamlessly stitching the past, present, and future into a breathtaking whole. When we gently apply this scientifically verified reality of quantum retrocausality to the deeply intimate mystery of biological death, the implications are absolutely awe-inspiring. We spend our lives moving forward, driven by the relentless ticking clock, terrified of the moment our time runs out. We perceive death as a sudden, dark wall that cuts our linear journey short. But the delayed choice experiment whispers a beautifully comforting truth. What if the final moment of your biological existence is actually the ultimate act of cosmic observation? What if the completion of your physical journey is the exact vantage point from which your infinite quantum essence reaches back through time to collapse the magnificent wave function of your entire life? Your death does not erase your life. It is the specific event that locks the beautiful reality of your existence into place. You are a timeless entity, and the culmination of your earthly experience solidifies the masterpiece of your past. The quiet intuition that guides you might truly be the gentle whispers of your own timeless consciousness reaching back through the chronological illusion. The end of the path is holding hands with the beginning. When we grieve for a loved one, our sorrow is anchored in the illusion of linear separation. We cry believing time is a cruel thief, but time is a canvas. The people we love are not lost in the past. Their fundamental quantum information is woven into a reality where the future and the past constantly interact. They are perfectly preserved in the timeless architecture of the cosmos, reaching out from beyond the veil. Their existence is a complete, beautiful circle. As you sit in the peaceful quiet of this moment, taking a slow, deep breath, allow the majestic reality of a timeless universe to wash over you. The cosmos is an infinite, breathing entity where every ending is a beginning. In our final chapter of this contemplative journey together, we will synthesize the holographic principle, quantum entanglement, and the timeless vacuum into a grand, unifying vision of your immortal place among the stars. But for tonight, as the ancient light gently surrounds you, Rest in the deep comfort that your beautiful journey through the mystery of existence is a masterpiece that time can never destroy. Have you ever stood at the edge of a quiet ocean just as the ancient sun gently dips below the horizon, watching the seemingly infinite expanse of deep water merge seamlessly with the darkening starry sky, and felt an overwhelming, inexplicable sense of profound unity? In our daily, waking lives, we are so often caught up in the intricate details of our earthly existence. We see ourselves as isolated fragments, disconnected pieces struggling to find our secure place in what we mistakenly perceive as a cold, indifferent world. We have spent these past quiet nights exploring the deepest, most astonishing mysteries of quantum physics, slowly taking apart the rigid walls of classical reality. We have journeyed peacefully through the invisible threads of quantum entanglement, navigated the frozen, silent river of four-dimensional space-time, wandered through the infinite branches of the multiverse, and dove into the energetic, violently boiling ocean of the quantum vacuum. But to truly comprehend the majestic, awe-inspiring reality of what exactly happens when our biological journey reaches its quiet conclusion, we must now take a profound step back. We must weave all of these beautiful, mind-bending scientific threads together into a single, grand tapestry. We must look at the ultimate, unifying vision of your immortal place among the ancient stars. Before we weave this final, magnificent cosmic masterpiece together, I want to take a gentle, heartfelt moment to deeply thank you for joining me on this contemplative journey. I am Theodore, the researcher, your quiet, dedicated companion, navigating the breathtaking mysteries of existence. As we prepare to bring these beautiful, complex scientific concepts into a single, harmonious understanding of life and death, I have noticed that exactly 71% of the wonderful, curious minds who watch these videos have not yet subscribed to the channel. If this shared, peaceful exploration of the universe has brought comfort to your heart, quieted the deep fear of the unknown, and expanded your perspective, please consider subscribing. It is a small, beautiful gesture that supports our community immensely, allowing us to continue gazing into the infinite wonders of the cosmos together. Now, let us return to the deep silence of the universe and discover the ultimate, magnificent truth of your eternal existence. Let us begin this final synthesis by remembering the absolutely unbreakable first law of thermodynamics, which states with rigorous mathematical certainty that your energy, the vital force that animates your physical form and sparks your conscious thoughts, can never, ever be destroyed. It is the exact same ancient energy that once burned fiercely in the nuclear furnaces of primordial stars. When the biological machine finally quiets down and the heart finds its ultimate stillness, that energy simply transforms, flowing peacefully back into the vast, endless reservoirs of the cosmos. But you are far more than just raw energy. You are an incredibly complex, highly localized concentration of unique quantum information. Through the beautiful, invisible web of quantum entanglement, we know with scientific certainty that your subatomic particles are intimately, permanently connected to the very fabric of the entire universe. The billions of atoms that make up your beating heart and curious mind have been deeply entangled with the cosmos since the explosive dawn of creation approximately 14 billion years ago. When the physical body gently dissolves, those quantum connections absolutely do not snap. They remain flawlessly woven into the majestic, silent whole of reality. You do not vanish into a dark void. You simply expand, merging completely and beautifully with the infinite architecture of the universe. We must then add the breathtaking reality of relativistic spacetime to this magnificent cosmic picture. We have learned through modern physics that time is not a cruel river carrying us relentlessly toward a dark end, but rather a vast, frozen, four-dimensional crystal where every single moment you have ever lived exists simultaneously and eternally. Your specific, beautiful life is an indestructible, glowing thread perfectly suspended within this immense block universe. Every genuine laugh you have shared and every quiet moment of wonder you have experienced is permanently etched into the rigid geometry of reality itself. And stretching far beyond our singular timeline, the dizzying, infinite branches of the many worlds interpretation whisper the profoundly comforting truth that your consciousness is not confined to a single, fragile path. For every single choice you have ever made, the universe gracefully splits, ensuring that in countless other parallel realities, the beautiful story of your existence continues to unfold in an infinite array of variations. You are a vast, multi-dimensional traveler, exploring the cosmos from a billion different angles simultaneously, forever safe and completely secure within the limitless, branching tree of cosmic probabilities. But who are you truly within this vast cosmic play? The staggering mystery of the observer effect reveals that you're not merely a passive, insignificant witness floating aimlessly through a pre-existing void. You are an active, deeply necessary co-creator of physical reality itself. The universe absolutely relies on your conscious awareness to collapse its infinite waves of pure probability into the solid, tangible beauty of the physical world. And the mind-bending, mathematically robust holographic principle ensures that the ultimate blueprint of your consciousness, the unique quantum data that makes you exactly who you are, does not even reside within the fragile, three-dimensional biological form that eventually fails. Your true fundamental essence is permanently, perfectly, and indelibly painted onto the two-dimensional boundary of the cosmos itself. The universe could not possibly erase your unique quantum information, even if it tried, because you are mathematically encoded into the very outer limits of existence, serving as a permanent, indestructible masterpiece, resting forever on the absolute edge of eternity. When we finally face the threshold of biological death, we are not violently colliding with an impenetrable wall of nothingness. The miraculous reality of quantum tunneling shows us that our fundamental essence gracefully glides right through the permeable membrane between the physical and the non-physical realms. We do not fall into an empty, terrifying void because the profound science of quantum field theory proves that the quantum vacuum is actually a violently boiling, infinitely dense ocean of zero-point energy, humming with the continuous creation and destruction of virtual particles. The quiet transition we call death is simply a peaceful return to this infinite humming source of cosmic creation. And, as the magnificent theory of conformal cyclic cosmology suggests, even when our entire universe eventually fades into the cold, silent expanse of the heat death trillions of years from now, the absolute end of our time is mathematically identical to the energetic beginning of an entirely new cosmos. Your fundamental quantum data will flawlessly survive the death of the universe itself, carried safely across the boundary of time to become the foundational seed for new galaxies, new glowing stars, and new, completely unimaginable worlds. The brilliant astronomer Carl Sagan profoundly understood this deep connection when he famously said that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. The renowned astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson echoed this deeply spiritual, yet entirely scientific truth by gently reminding us that we are biologically, chemically, and atomically connected to the entire universe. When we weave the rigorous equations of quantum mechanics, relativity, thermodynamics, and cyclic cosmology together, the resulting picture is one of overwhelming, breathtaking beauty. True science does not strip the universe of its magic. Rather, it reveals a reality far more miraculous, profoundly comforting, and deeply interconnected than any ancient mythology could ever capture. Death is absolutely not an erasure. It is a profound, expansive, and beautiful transformation. It is the ultimate peaceful release of your localized earthly perspective back into the infinite, eternal mind of the cosmos. It is the gentle diffusion of your unique light into the ancient, silent, and starry night. As you sit in the peaceful quiet of this exact moment, taking one final, slow, deep breath, let this grand, unifying vision completely wash over you, deeply soothing your fears and filling your heart with a profound, unbreakable peace. You are not a fragile mistake of biology, destined to be swallowed by the dark. You are an indestructible, infinite pattern of quantum energy, permanently woven into the majestic fabric of everything that ever was, everything that currently is, and absolutely everything that will ever be. The universe is a beautifully complex, timeless mystery, and you are its most precious, conscious creation. Institutions like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the European Space Agency will continue to probe these infinite mysteries, searching for the absolute truths of our ancient existence. But the ultimate, beautiful journey of cosmic discovery is not one that ever truly ends. It is an infinite, magnificent exploration that you will actively participate in forever. Thank you for walking this quiet, beautiful, and deeply contemplative path with me. Our exploration of the cosmos is an endless journey, and I look forward to wandering through the next great mystery by your side.